Hello, everybody. My name is Lana Amawi. Thank you so much, first of all, to Christy and to Jenny for having this amazing summit. It is imperative that we all have ways that we take care of ourselves since we are taking care of others. And no matter what hat you're wearing, you need to know and have your tools. And I really appreciated it and wish that I jumped on earlier with Tasha's presentation, but I was very moved for what I did here, and it was a great way to start, and I can't agree with you more, Christy. So without further ado, this is going to be a presentation where, yes, I will unmute and have you provide some feedback. I also will be saying things that hopefully you'll feel is noteworthy. So I hope you have a notebook and a pen. I'm going to have you make some notes. We're going to be doing like a pinwheel sunburst for your what could be your pie chart that's got 8 different elements, and moving on. If there are certain pieces of this presentation that you would like copies of, I have no problem in providing that to Christine and Jenny, because I think it can be a little overwhelming listening to somebody and trying to write everything down. So my goal as a presenter is that I would like for you not just to hear it, but to listen to it, let it all absorb. And I promise that I'll get you notes so that you can reference them that later, okay? The one thing that I didn't want to do is, bore you with something that you weren't interested in, or, staring at a screen that doesn't have any animation. And I love the way that this is all set up on our Zoom, because we can all see each other. And Christy is right. We need to be able to, because our faces talk. It's important for me to see your beautiful faces, your expressions. I want to know what resonates with you. And if there's a point that I need to go back to, you guys are going to be the one telling me that. So I can hit pause and present. Oh, there I go. I just hit spotlight. Yay. Okay. Yay. Good job. So please don't hesitate. I have my chat open on what would be my right. I can see questions. Again, please feel free. This is going to be interactive. I'm not one, I never have been in the years that I've been doing this, just stand up and lecture, because that's boring. It's not fun. And I want to get to know each and every one of you if possible. So without further ado, let's get started. This presentation has been given multiple times throughout the time that I've been a professional. My last one was in 2018, and interesting, prior to COVID. But I think this is so important right now, as we are kind of hitting a reset from coming off of COVID. There's a lot that happened to a lot of people. Unfortunately, we had lots of deaths, severe illness, changes in employment, the structure of our families, and the list goes on. The Because You Matter book that you see right there is one that I did write during COVID. And it does talk about the personal and professional stories of our healthcare warriors during COVID-19. It has 22 co-authors in it that share all different specialties, men and women, of what it was like to deal with COVID. So it's a great read. It's very emotional. I'm just letting you know. But there's a lot of things that will resonate, and some great messages, including favorite verses and songs, as we were talking about this with Tasha, and just little different tools in your toolbox. So I just wanted to kind of make you aware of that. So this is going to segue me into talking about your personal inventory. Friends, this is utterly important, and I want you to write this down, and I will talk slow. Even though I very much, as I get a little excited and sometimes a little anxious, I speak quickly, but that's okay. I'm going to slow it down, I promise. But it's great that I can see your faces, so that you guys are my cues, okay? All right. What is the personal inventory? It's your people, places, and things, all right? What I'd love for you to do is to take your piece of paper and make 3 columns. People, places, and things. As I am continuing on with the presentation, I would like for you to write down the people in your life that you consider first, second, and third tier, okay? Here's us, the inner core, think of like the target bullseye, and then we go out, all right? Who are our people? Who is in our life? The next thing that I want you, your second column is going to be places. Favorite places that you go to. Healthy, unhealthy, it doesn't matter. I want to see places. Bookstores, bars, restaurants, yoga studios, dance places, a bestie's friend, house, etc. I want you to list all of those. And lastly, things. Things could be something like your favorite, Starbucks drink holder. It could be your cat, your dog, a book, a pillow, a painting, art behind you, things that make you happy. What are things that mean something to you? Now, once we have those columns filled, what do we do now? What we need to find out is that of those people, places, and things, who is lining up with you at this moment in time as present that line up with your goals? There are people in our life, and we all know them, that are just a lot of emotional noise. And I say that very respectfully, but there are people that will just suck the energy out of you. They're very intense, they're very emotional, they're having difficulty. They probably don't have a therapist, and it's just all of a sudden you become their therapist. You love them dearly, you want them in your life because you enjoy them, but wow, they're heavy. So we need to make note in our people, places, and things of what is not suiting you today, okay? Again, we've had a lot going on in the last 2 years. What suited you maybe 2 years may not suit you today. That's why these personal inventories need to be done periodically, okay? Just like you change your oil, we got to change our personal inventory sometimes, right? Okay. You have to also ask yourself, are you having difficulty in initiating change because you fear of hurting or disappointing others? Okay. Many of us who are caregivers, all different kinds, are people pleasers. We don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. We don't want to let them down. This is going to happen if I do this. It's not going to work out. Or maybe they don't want to be in my life anymore. Will I suffer a loss because I'm trying to do something good for myself? The next point is, who and what encompass your support team when you are stressed? Who are your go-to people? And again, going back to your people column, who are the ones that have the stars? Who are the ones that are highlighted? And if there are not, then we need to work on that. Who are your go-to? People ask me all the time, and I've been working in mental health, like Christy said, for almost half my life now. I'm almost 51. I have colleagues, I have friends, and I have my sister. Now, family, just because you're family doesn't mean that they're, supportive. Are you friends? Can you have a reciprocal, healthy relationship? This is very important. It's important that each one of us, in order for me to take care of all of you, and I'm saying the audience in general and the greater world, I have to have my tribe. I'm one, but I need a tribe. So it's important to look at where your support team is. Okay, now, this is where, if you've got colored pens, highlighters, crayons, I don't care what it is, I want you to grab it, okay? Because this is where we're going to make our sunburst or our pinwheel. Okay. All right, friends. So here's what we have. Some of us have a 7-point pinwheel, and some of us have an 8. So bear with me. And these are in no particular order. It's just the one that, unloaded in my head today. Mental health, number 1. Number 2, physical health. Number 3, spiritual or religious health. Number 4, hobbies and extracurricular. Number 5, family. Number 6, friends. Number 7, and again, not for everyone, significant other / partner / spouse. And number 8, which I hope everybody will have, is a mental / physical activity. Now, once upon a time, we talked all about, we got to work out, we got to work out, we got to exercise, we got to, right? And the whole focus on is how many inches can I lose? How many pounds can I lose? Am I going to get into that dress at the time of the wedding? And it's becoming all consuming. Friends, I have to remind you that moving your body, because my question too is going to be, how did you move your body today? You're moving your body for your mind and your physical body, okay? The endorphins that we get from it are amazing. And again, I don't care if you're cleaning the house, you've got great music on, and you are dancing like nobody's business. Good for you. It doesn't matter if you just decide to go to a Zumba class. Great excuse. You get to go dance, have great music without, putting on makeup and stiletto heels. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Okay. Oh, yes, Cecile, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. I just looked. So this is essential. I want you guys to take a look at what is around you, what's in your township, what's in your suburb, what's in your city, and find out what works for you. And I want you to note the meetup.com app / website. And no, it's not a dating site. What it is that it's an app to get you to social activities, interests, that same interest that people have, whether it's like a running group, hiking group, cooking, etc. So meetup.com. Okay. Now, you guys have your categories. We're going to do what's like a Likert scale on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. Thank you, Christy. Where are you in each one of those? So I want you guys to take a moment. It won't take but a couple minutes, if that. How do you feel? How balanced is your pinwheel? On a scale, 1 being low, 5 being high, where are you in those 7 or 8? Okay. So obviously, if you're a 4 or 5, you're doing pretty good. Now, when you're on 3 or lower, it's important that we give it some attention. It needs some love. So people are putting in their numbers, and I can appreciate that. I see my pinwheel seems somewhat unbalanced. Yes, for many. It is imperative that we rebalance so that we can feel good, so that we can continue to provide and caregive for others. Because without all that, you are not being fed. You're not being fed mentally, spiritually, physically, etc. So we have to look at, what do we need to do? Do I need a therapist? Do I need a psychiatrist? Do I need to address something with my primary care? Do I need to hit another yoga class? Do I need to consult with somebody to figure out how I do all this, because it looks too overwhelming to me and I don't know what to do? I get that a lot. Lana, this is too much. Okay, bite-sized pieces. Yes, I can appreciate. Thank you guys for the feedback. The rebalance and the reset is very, very important. In my book, I talked about when I was very unbalanced. Last year, I'm 1 year recovered now, but I went through a very difficult period where I had severe anxiety and it was a severe depression. I was sleeping for 12 hours a day and I couldn't move. Yes, I know, very different human being than who's talking right now. I understand it. I know it. I've been there, and more than once, because there was one before the book and there was one after the book. I had to completely reset. I had to delegate. We had 4 things that happened all at once, and it took me down. Yes, me. I had to reach out and talk to a therapist. I had to talk to physicians. I had to delegate work, domestic work at home. And I have one child, he's 12 and a half, and I'm also married. So I had to absolutely do something very drastic in my life in order to get healthy again. Because I'm a caregiver. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, a clinical therapist, and also a coach for domestic and international. I need to be on my A game. It's important that each and every one of us do it. And please don't think that just because you happen to see somebody who looks a certain way that they don't have any experiences. We have many. We just may show it differently. But I'm taking the opportunity here during the summit to share my experiences so you guys understand that I understand too. Okay. Thank you, Cecile. I appreciate that. You know, it's part of my healing process. I'm getting goosebumps right now, of sharing these experiences that I've had. I went through a time is that how am I able to recover? How are people going to respect me in my profession and what I've been doing if this has happened to me? That if she can't take care of herself, how is she taking care of others? It's very different. It is incredibly different. I had to hit my tribe hard because my life means too much to me, especially upstairs watching over us, all of our guardian angels. I know that there's more out there. And this was a challenge, a test, whatever we want to call it. And I was bound and determined to get out of it. And I'm proud and happy to say I haven't felt better in years. Thank you. If any of you are struggling, please reach out. We are here for you. It is imperative that you talk to us. All right, let's move on. Sharpness. Thanks, Kathleen. Let's evaluate different things. Our mental health, because this is going to be a major focus. I want to know and hear about anxiety, depression, sleep hygiene, caffeine intake, moving, medications, vitamins, and your food intake. You know, it's interesting that when we start feeling certain ways, we hit sometimes the not so healthy things, right? Or things that can be healthy become unhealthy because of the amount. What is it that we go towards? Do we binge eat? Do we binge drink? What is it that we do to ourselves that sometimes are unhealthy? Are you making yourself a priority? Is during your caregiving experience making so that you are taking a back seat? Is your caregiving giving you the mental thoughts that I don't have time, I have to take care of them? They come first. I know this is so generational, but you guys also know my age, and you know my mom is in her mid-70s now. So just like Christy has shared with us many times, and this is a great analogy, you have to put on your oxygen mask first and then others. Right? That is one that we will never forget. And any of you that are travelers hear it every single time. Yours is first. You. Mothers need to feed themselves before they feed their children so they have the fuel to do the cleanup. Okay? I need you to think about it this way. I need you to open your minds. Is this resonating with people? Yes, I see nods. Wonderful. Great. Okay, here's what I want to do. These are my wows. It is the A to Z words of wisdom. Okay, so I literally have A to Z. This is going to be part of the pieces that I will be sharing with Christy and Jenny, that if you are interested in this, I'll absolutely just put a little packet together and we'll forward it on through email. Right, Jenny and Christy? Is that, yeah, okay, fabulous. So you're going to hear little isms, you're going to hear little sayings. Some of them will make you laugh. Hopefully not, none will make you cry, but I want to get through it with you, okay? All right. Number one, there's no such thing as perfect. Therefore, don't use it to describe the expectation. B, analysis can be paralysis. I know many of you have heard this, right? C, think less and do more. I know it's like the Nike logo, just do it. But the thing is that we get way too cerebral, we're way too in our heads, and we don't move. We think about it and think about it and think about it to death. Okay? D, there's only 24 hours in a day. Be kind to yourself. Going back to Tasha's presentation, one of the questions was, how many hours do you give yourself self-care a day? And Tasha mentioned, what was it, microbits? Somebody help me with it, but it was micropieces, microbits. Yes, something along that line. I absolutely 100% agree with her. There may be time that you've got 15 minutes just to zone out. Do you know that when Christy put the music on, I didn't move? Because it was just so enthralling and just kind of got me in that very relaxed state. And I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy it. And some of us, I noticed, were swaying to the music and just really allowing ourselves, yes, to come into our bodies and put us in a mental relaxed state. And just to allow the quiet and the noise. Okay, here's one that I say many, many times. Spend less time reacting, comma, and more time acting toward the solution. What happens is that the emotion takes over and it doesn't allow us to problem solve or to do critical thinking. F is, what do I have control over in this situation? And learn the ER mode of thinking. So what's the ER mode of thinking? I'll explain it. ER, emergency room, okay? Think of yourself as an emergency room staff. You've got somebody coming in on a gurney and, okay, here's what's happening. What do we got? What do you notice that staff does? They're going through protocol, they're delegating, they're moving, IVs, this, that, lots of things happening. And that's what, when something hits you, to literally give yourself a timer. I don't care if you need to curse, hit, talk, whatever, to get it out, but you got to move. Why? Because the emotion will drain you mentally and physically. And it'll take you that much longer to get up and move. That's why I tell people, when something hits you, give it a moment, take a deep breath, but get up and walk. Why? Your body movement, your brain movement, it's starting to switch over and gives you the opportunity to make a plan of action. Okay. G, because many times this presentation has been for professionals, but I think it applies to all. It doesn't matter if they don't like you personally, it matters if they like you professionally. So for those professional that are out in the audience, this one's for you. H, this is a huge one in therapy, okay? Don't take ownership of other people's moods and issues. Create the 5 to 7 degrees of emotional separation so that you can stay objective as a leader at work or at home. It's okay to say that it's their problem, not mine. So remember, you can't control other people's mood, thoughts, and behaviors, only your own. Okay? In order for you to be effective, you have to sometimes take a step back. Okay. So H and I were kind of together. J, great leaders empower all, not just themselves. I'm sure you've seen that many places. K, empowerment comes from caring of the self. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you truly a role model in your professional and personal life? Do an evaluation on yourself. Would you be one that would come to yourself? Feed yourself before feeding others. We talked about this. You will need the strength for cleanup. Yep. M, most feelings are temporary. Be mindful when certain feelings make you feel yuck and stuck. It doesn't have to take over the whole day. It doesn't have to take over the whole week. It's just right now in the present. Most feelings are not permanent. They're fluid. They go up and down. The good and the bad ones, if you think about it. Recognize it, own it, and move on from it. Allow yourself to move on. You control it versus it control you. Rational, this is N, rational versus irrational thoughts. Do you know the difference? Especially with anxiety, this is very common. Do you know what your thought process is doing? Do you know the difference between healthy and unhealthy? Rational versus irrational. O is set realistic versus idealistic expectations. There's a reason that it's called real talk. You know, people will say, oh, well, in a perfect world, blah, blah, blah. Are we in a perfect world? No, we're not. Right? So let's be realistic. And P, you guys, we've heard this many times, the grass is only green if you water it. Right? That goes for everything across the board and for any relationship that you're in. Are you watering it? Which reminds me, my plant is looking a little dry. Okay, but that's all right. We'll get there. By the way, did you guys know that they're now telling you to put 5 ice cubes once per week in your plants versus watering? Didn't know that. Thought that was awesome. FYI. Okay. Q, use Dr. Chapman's 5 love languages quiz to help realign your relationship. Dr. Gary Chapman. I actually saw him in person. I went to a marriage conference when Adam was a little. He was what, between 1 and 2 years old. He's 12 now. Yeah, was quite a while ago. It was amazing. One of the most humble human beings I ever met. But his 5 love languages has, translated across the globe. And the 5 love languages quiz is amazing. If you're not familiar with it, please grab it. You'll see it online. The general book is purple, and there's a book actually for men that's the brown cover. They have it for teens. There's a slew. I can't even tell you. It's a great book. Date night is a must. Women connect emotionally and intellectually. This is very important that we women, no matter how old we are, have date nights with our girls or significant others. This has to be planned, like you plan your doctor's appointment, like you planned on being in the summit. It needs to be in the calendar. So I'm going to share with you a habit that I have done for years, and all my friends know, and they giggle every time I do it. So we'll be on our date. We'll go hit up a restaurant. We kind of like do the little tour of Cleveland. And right before we leave, get ready to say goodbye, and we got to go, and we got to do this and that. I'm like, okay, guys, pull out your phones, get into your calendars. When is the next time I'm going to see you? And right then and there, with all of us seated, because that group texting gets to be a little bit crazy, right? A little overwhelming. And we figure out during that time when we're going to see each other. Because I don't know about you guys, but I love looking at my calendar and be like, oh, great, I get to see them tomorrow night. Or I'm doing this, or going here, going there. I have something to look forward to. So please think about this. for your, and a lot of times I'm on a monthly or a bi-monthly with my, sets of groups, friends, single, or etc. For me, as the extrovert, you guys have probably figured that one out. I need that. I get energy from other people. Okay. So in order to feed me, I need my people. You guys are feeding me right now, and I love it. Thank you. Take a mental health day at least once every 2 months during the week, not the weekend, the week. Figure out what you can do for yourself and take care of yourself. Use your vacation days even for a staycation. I know a lot of people have been doing that. Well, in COVID, we had to. Work and play and work. Okay? Give yourself permission. As a society, we are not good about that at all versus other countries and societies. Unfortunately, the US is one of the worst. We accumulate vacation time. We have these things in our banks, but for whatever reason, we don't take it. We're like, oh, I'll just cash it out, or oh, I'll just roll it. And now many times you can't roll it anymore. So where are your experiences? How are you feeding yourself? A lot of us, especially when we hit February, January, February, we need to get the hell out of Dodge and we need to go somewhere sunny. And yes, this is kind of enticing a little bit of my OCD, but just go with me on this one. Use a planner or organizer, and one only. Use Google, Cozy, the iCloud. Those are all great examples. I always joke with people because my Google Calendar looks like a rainbow on steroids because of all what's happening. But that's okay because I love it because I created it, right? Look at what you have. W is remember to eat. Without fuel, the car can't run. No more skipped meals. This is a big one. Our metabolisms slow down as we age, and it's not a great way to try to use it to lose weight. That's not how you lose weight. We can talk about it later. X is remember to move. I mentioned these before. Use yoga, kickboxing, cardio classes, spinning, Zumba, ballroom dance, aqua exercises, swimming, all the stress relievers. I listed those so that it can be like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. Make a note. Where do I find that? Where do I go? Okay. Y is don't skip your health appointments, mental health and physical health. All your parts are vital. There's nothing more important than getting them all checked out. All the parts. I know, not always fun. We get poked and prodded and squished and all that, but we got to take care of everything, the girls and all that stuff. You ladies know what I'm talking about. All right. Z, very important. Use self-affirmations daily. If you don't like or love yourself, others will have difficulty and have pity on you. Self-respect and self-acceptance are key. If this is something you struggle with, it needs to have a big circle around it, write it down and take it to your therapist. This I have a problem with, I need help. That helps you recognize the issue as well as your therapist gives them guidance on what to help you with. Lastly, what I want to talk about is not in the notes, but I talk about it enough that I don't need to look at anything. Friends, for those that don't have therapists or are unhappy with their therapists, please do your due diligence and do your homework. Look them up, read about them, see what's happening, ask a friend. You're in this kind of a summit, reach out to any of us. Here are my issues. Who do you know that is really versed in EMDR or CBT or DBT, et cetera, or I don't know the difference between a psychologist, a therapist, and a psychiatrist. It's very important that you come to one of us to get the resource necessary so we can get you the right people. Lana, I need somebody who understands my culture. Okay, I get that a lot. I need somebody who's African-American or Italian-American or Arabic speaking or this and that. Yes, we have those. Psychology Today is really great. Christy is great, of course, Jenny, myself, any of us, because our resources and our Rolodex, yes, I know I aged myself, are quite large now. You know, we've been in this community for a very long time, between East and West and South, etc. And many of us have colleagues in different states. I have in Michigan, Minnesota, etc. And remember, therapists can only work in the state they are licensed in. I say this because, remember, if you are joining a platform, for example, if you're doing BetterHelp, this, that, or something else, make sure that therapist is licensed in the state of Ohio. If you are a resident of Ohio, or I know that our audience is coming from different places, please be mindful of where their license is for, which state. This is imperative. For therapy, clinical work, it has to be that way. Coaching is something different. That's a different conversation. But for therapy, absolutely has to be. Okay, I cannot emphasize this enough. Okay, friends, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to open it up to some questions. Tell me what you got.
Yeah, Christy's addressed some of these, but I just want to point out some things that came in the chat box, whether you have some input. So Rochelle says, for those of us who are immune compromised, getting together, this is a statement, but getting together with others is extremely difficult or impossible if we want to keep safe. Any words on that?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that we learned during COVID is to doing virtual dates, virtual coffees, virtual happy hours, you name it, they're doing it.
Yeah.
Zoom has been one of the biggest components that has been a godsend for many people. So even if immunocompromised doesn't mean that you can't see their great faces and the interactions and etc. I know people say nothing beats the actual physical in the same room, but you know what? This is not so bad. I feel very connected to you, and I know that we're on a screen, but like I can see backgrounds and I see eyebrows and I see smiles and beautiful glasses and all kinds of stuff. It's great.
Yeah. A little bit of talk about, not being able to afford a vacation. We talked about staycations in the chat. Anything else to add? Sounds like there's some augmented reality headset that someone is using, which is pretty cool. Anything to add, that self-care isn't always, being able to ship yourself off in February and March as much as we want to. And not everyone lives in Northeast Ohio. I bet there's some folks that live in sunny places too. But yeah, any comments about that?
Mm-hmm. A lot of the travel industry also changed during COVID. And I think a lot of things to our advantage. The Vrbo and Airbnb have been a much more sometimes affordable option. And, getting together with friends or other family to go in together can be a lot more affordable as well. So expand your minds of what you've done in the past. You can still get to your destination, but how?
Great. Someone else asked a little bit, could you talk just for a minute about coaching versus counseling and where you would find a good coach?
Okay, this is an awesome question, and I really appreciate, thank you, Tanya, for asking it. What's the difference? So coaching is helping you get to your goals, and there's not an emphasis on treating a mental health condition. You're not going to be talking about what to do for anxiety specifically, so on and so forth, a major depression, etc. Okay? It's more so, Lana, this is my goal. This is what I need to do. I have a lot because I work a lot with the medical professionals. I may have a physician or a nurse, etc., that may, and even therapists that say, I really need to do this in my life, and I'm really struggling. How can you help navigate me through it? Okay. Now, a lot of us who are therapists, there is some coaching elements in it, but coaching does not treat a mental health condition. This is the big thing. And your coach can be from out of state. Now, with me saying that, please make sure, because coaching, that term coach is very general, make sure they are certified coach. Even though I've been a therapist for many decades now, I got my coaching certificate. I am ICF certified. from the International Coaching Federation, okay? Make sure people are doing their due diligence to get the certifications necessary. Okay, I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you. I don't see any other questions. I wanted to just mention, since we are here at Courage to Caregivers, we have a wonderful program of peer support for caregivers, which again is different than counseling and coaching too. It is someone with lived experience who can say, oh my gosh, I feel you. I got this. It's happened to me. It's, you know, we've talked a little bit about in the chat, like kind of isolation maybe, or maybe I'm just feeling that, you know, like, because I think that's what we hear that a lot from caregivers, and peer support can truly help with isolation and knowing that other people have been there. Yes. So just a little plug, couragetocaregivers.org. You can find more about that.
Awesome. And I think, you know, please put that in chat. And I'm not sure, and I bet you guys have already talked about it, but all these different resources that are great for the people in the greater Cleveland area, knowing when these support systems are, you know, this, that, et cetera, or if somebody's, you know, great offerings. Yeah, we have to spread the word. Thank you guys for having me on. This was fantastic. I'm honored. Again, if you have any questions, I know that my contact information is available and will be shared with all of you. Please don't hesitate. All of us are great resources, and please reach out. Why? Because you all matter.